Hello everyone, Waxo here, and welcome to the report for the week of February 1st to the 5th. This was yet another busy week with tons of stories throughout. With this week, however, I'll be focusing heavily on EA news since they had a major financial call earlier in the week. Some of it's good, while other stories have me a bit skeptical to where the company may be headed in the near future, so pretty much EA being EA. That being said though, if you want to check the bio down below, I've included other news stories that I found pretty interesting reads, but just didn't make it in the episode this week. So without further ado, let's hop into this week's Waxo report. MLB The Show will release on the Xbox One and Series, making it the first PlayStation Studios to do so. In 2019, IGN wrote an article that mentioned how the MLB would be renewing their license with PlayStation and Sony. However, with the renewal, they revoked their exclusivity deal, which meant future titles would have to come out on their competitors' platform. This is great news for Xbox owning baseball fans, as they now have access to an MLB licensed baseball game after years of Sims with unlicensed teams. The game is currently set to drop April 20th and will also feature crossplay between PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PS5. In the first bit of EA related news, it seems the early rumors surrounding the next Battlefield might just be true. During their investor call earlier in the week, EA made a statement about how the next Battlefield is going to push next-gen experiences and feature more players than ever before in a Battlefield title. With that in mind, that only makes the rumors that I spoke during the second Waxo report that stated that this is going to be the larger Battlefield experience than what previous games had been. So that 128 player limit or 64v64 might be true. Hell, I'd even be pleasantly surprised if it goes beyond that 128 player boundary and maybe even strives for like the Warzone 200 in their base multiplayer. That might be a lot, but it would be interesting to see if they really push the next gen experience. Only time will tell, and EA did reaffirm that in spring that there will be a full reveal of the upcoming Battlefield, so again we won't have any real solid details until then, but I'm looking forward to see what more they have to say about this upcoming title. In huge news for Mass Effect fans, the Legendary Edition's release date and details have finally been revealed. The remastered collection will see a graphical boost as the game will be playable in 4K HDR, and will also include major improvements to textures, lighting, and effects. The original Mass Effect is getting the most quality of life changes, with upgrades to things like squad AI, vehicle controls, cover behavior, and weapon balance. The Legendary Edition will release May 14th on Xbox One, PS4, and PC, and can't be played via backwards compatibility on PS5 and Xbox Series. I've actually never played through the entirety of Mass Effect, even though I have access to them, and have heard over the years how amazing the original trilogy is. Is that something that you guys would like to see done in the near future? Maybe that I play through the original 3 Mass Effect games? If so, do you guys think that I should play through the very original, or should I wait until the Legendary Edition comes out? Leave your opinions and thoughts in the comments down below, and I will let you know which one I do in the future. Getting into more problematic EA news, this one surrounds their recent acquisition of Codemasters. EA has announced that the famed developers behind franchises such as Dirt, Grid, and F1 will be releasing a game each and every year from here on out. And what this seems to imply at best is each year there might be a new game coming from one of these franchises. At worst, however, it could imply that EA plans on stretching this developer completely thin and expecting multiple games from multiple franchises to be dropped each year. And even though I feel like it very much could be the former, I do not put it past EA to go to the latter route and just put this new developer that they've acquired in such a difficult position in developing multiple games per year. Just keep an eye out on how they're going to handle Codemasters. It seems a little worrisome, especially when you look at how they run their other sports franchises. EA also announced that college football will be making a return, after going on hiatus following a lawsuit in which they had to pay around $40 million in a settlement between NCAA players for getting as close as one could to their likeliness and not paying the players royalties in doing so. The new franchise will be allowed to use teams within the collegiate licensing company and will give them access to logos, uniforms, and celebrations of over 200 schools. And though I am sure that this is great news for fans who have been waiting for a new college football experience, I just don't trust EA here to deliver a genuine and enjoyable sim, especially when you look at their recent announcement as to what they plan to do with Codemasters, as well as the backlash from recent entries in both FIFA and Madden. Maybe the initial release will be enough to entice fans from years before, but will they actually listen to needed improvements and features? Time will only tell, but EA's track record for their sports games in recent years has been spotty, to put it very nicely. With another report comes yet another delay, this time in the form of Ubisoft's Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, which has been delayed indefinitely. Announced in July during Ubisoft's Forward event, the remake garnered mixed reactions as graphically it looked pretty dated. Ubisoft initially responded by stating that it was a stylistic choice, but the game was then pushed from its original January 21st release date to March 18th. On the 5th, however, Ubisoft released a statement saying that they have now pushed the game to an unspecified date, stating that they want to deliver a remake that feels fresh while remaining faithful to the original. As for titles coming soon, we have Little Nightmares 2, the sequel to the indie horror game that I finally recently played through, that will drop on February 11th for PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. If you're wanting to know just what Little Nightmares is before picking up its sequel, or just haven't heard of the sleeper hit, check out my recent video on what I thought about the original. Switch owners will get to enjoy a re-release of Super Mario 3D World that comes with a new add-on, Bowser's Fury. The expansion sees Mario trapped on a cat island doing the things you do in a Mario game, and has you face off against a giant Godzilla-like Bowser as a Super Saiyan Mario. What the hell even are Mario games at this point? Before I conclude this episode, I want to introduce a new section called Spotlight. And Spotlight might not be in every episode, it's just going to be if there's a new announcement for a game, or if there's new information on a previously announced game, because it's something that I find interesting and believe that some of you out there might also find interesting. And to kick it off, this week's going to be focused on a game called The Day Before, which from its Steam page reads, A Day Before is an open-world MMO survival set in a deadly post-pandemic America, overrun by flesh-hungry infested and survivors killing each other for food, weapons, and cars. You wake up alone in a world you no longer remember, setting out to find answers and the resources to survive. I saw the initial gameplay reveal for this late one night, and, well, even though it's generally not my kind of game, the Division-like brand of looter shooter, but with survival elements, it does seem somewhat intriguing and maybe something that I keep my eye out in the future. If it is something you guys would like me to cover whenever it does initially come out, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to doing so. And that is where I'm going to end this week's Waxo Report. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell to receive all future notifications. This has been Waxo, and until next time, take it easy.